Today, Bonsai by the Samurai with the Cypress Lakes Bonsai Club present the first of the Yucca transplants. Here's the finished product from above. Good afternoon from Central Florida, Plant City. This is Terry with Bonsai by the Samurai, the division or part of the Cypress Lakes Bonsai Club. And I want to remind everybody of World Bonsai Day, May 11th. That's a Saturday at D&L Nurseries, Ocala, Florida. Today we'll be transplanting this yucca. This yucca stump came to me a few years ago, and it didn't cost me anything, so I love plants that don't cost anything. Today we'll be taking it out of this shallow pot and putting it into a deeper pot. We will make this the soil line here, so it will change a little bit. So let me just pause for a second and get the pot over here, and we'll go from there. I'll remove the wire, and I'm going to use this top dressing as the bottom soil to the new pot. Well, we're going to start off with the root hook and go around the edges and see what that does for us in trying to get this out of the pot. Can't imagine it gripping the pot like it has before in the past. When I first got this plant, I had it in a very small blue pot. Since then it's grown a bit, but I had to break it out of that pot to actually get it out of the pot. So now it's coming out. We can kind of lift it out of the pot now. And now you get to see those fabulous roots. Look at those powerful looking roots. But look how shallow that pot is. It's a very shallow, nice pot. But let me get my little chopstick and rake, and don't need that anymore. And sort of pull away from the edges here. Since it's going in such a large pot, season's good for it, I believe. I'm doing a lot of experimenting with yuccas. Not a lot of people have them for bonsai. I like the one that Nigel Saunders has on the Bonsai Zone. He's had it for a lot longer than I've had these, even though I got this in, I believe it was 2016. It might have been slightly earlier than that, but when I found it was on a trash heap. Everybody else had given it up for dead, but you know, nobody else was actually looking for old yucca stumps. But there it was, and I saw that potential for a super nabari, and it does have that. And I will be growing it in what I call the pine tree style. It's about the only thing it lends it to. I've noticed desert roses, they kind of lend themselves to that style if you let them. And also the ponytail palm, which not very many people use. I mean, Nigel has one, my good buddy Dave Clark has one. Ron has a big one growing outside of his property on the edge of his overhang. So he's sort of got one, but it's not in a bonsai. I don't think he has one in a bonsai pot. I'll have to look the next time I go up there. So this is where we are with the roots right now, and I'm going to go ahead and you'll see how they have these big fibrous roots. They're very strong roots. And usually they'll grow the stalks before they'll grow the roots. Case in point is this one right here. The bud came out on that. It still has no roots, but I put it in soil. I was rooting it in water. I'm also rooting some in soil, and I got one out of about 8 of them that's in that same pot that has actually shown it's got stalks growing from it, but since it's intermingled with the rest, I have not tried to detach it yet. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some of these bigger roots just so I can get my screen out of there. This is the amount of the roots that I took off. The roots almost kind of collapsed beneath the scissors. They're not very tough and they're kind of squishy. So if you ever do yucca, you will know. I also went and washed the roots, but this is what we have. Again, I said this is going to be the new soil line, and we'll try to put it in the pot in just a few moments. Oh, I just set it down here. Bring the pot over. I'm starting with a layer of hummus. I'm going to take the hose and I'm going to wash this pumice down, put it here so you can actually see the dust. What I'm going to do is just rinse this pumice until the water is completely clear. Looks pretty clear, does it not? Now, got to mount it back up. Doing this, though, does make it a little difficult to get those roots sifted into the underneath the plant, but mounding it up. You see we got a big mound in there. Now we're going to set our yucca in there and see where we are in the planting. You see we have a lot of big space in there, so I think I'm going to plant it at an angle, sort of like that, and then try to get this cutting over here, sort of like here. And this might really be a little too much for it, but you know, I don't really I think it's going to make a nice backdrop when you look at it this way. Probably move this out a little bit more. It'll be up a little bit higher, but I think it might do something. It's something to experiment with, and I really don't want to throw the cutting away. The cutting actually came from my largest yucca, which I will do in another video, but right now I'm going to fill it in with some soil. Got some soil here to start this procedure. Time to get into the chopsticking. I was using a combination of pumice and that Red River rock that I've been using lately. And I have like 3 size chopsticks. I don't know if you can see the difference, but for the beginning I always start with the biggest one, depending on the size of the tree. And we'll sit down here for a moment, and as I stop talking again, I will probably speed through this. Well, this last little bit of Red River rock has planktone in it. It's sort of a nutrient to get it off to a good track. I haven't wired it in the pot yet. Well, there's my yucca forest all watered in. As I was saying, it is the mid-size yucca that I have. This is the smaller one that I have. And then the giant one, which is sort of like an elephant foot. And these are cuttings off of the elephant foot.